At this point, I think MLB expansion is inevitable, whether it's 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, and so on. So in this video, I'm going to kind of go through and talk about what I think MLB expansion could look like in the short term, along with also in the long term. So just a little backstory before we kind of jump into this. Major League Baseball has not expanded since 1998, when the league introduced the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. So it's been over 25 years since Major League Baseball has expanded. And if you follow such things, you know that Nashville, Tennessee is on the short list, and rightfully so. They seem to be able to support their AAA team very well there, and it just seems like an overall good fit for the 31st team in Major League Baseball. But the most ponderous question is, where would they put the 32nd team in Major League Baseball? This is where it gets really interesting for me, because there's a number of states and cities that could be the home of the 32nd Major League Baseball team. Now, this isn't a super fun one due to the state already having a couple teams, but I do think Texas would be on the short list of receiving another expansion team. Just due to the sheer size of the state and the population there, I do think Texas could easily house 3 teams. Because if New York can have 2 teams, Texas can easily have 3 teams. Just look at California. There's currently 5 California teams right now, probably going to be 4 in the future when the A's leave. So if Texas got an expansion team, I do think San Antonio and Austin would be on the short list of cities that could host Major League Baseball. Due to their population size, again, I'm no expert. This is just from an outside perspective, but I do think those 2 cities would be the main ones Major League Baseball will look at. And those 2 cities are far enough away from Dallas and Houston where they wouldn't dip into those markets too bad. If I was to guess, Texas would easily support a 3rd team. There'd be plenty of fans that come out for a San Antonio team or an Austin team. Another one too I think would be interesting is Charlotte, North Carolina. Charlotte's already proven to be a good host city. They already host NFL football and NHL hockey, so adding baseball really wouldn't be all that big of a deal, I don't think. I think the city could handle it without any real issues. But at the same time, Charlotte, North Carolina would also be very close to Nashville, Tennessee for 2 new teams, so that probably wouldn't work all that well. But then again, we are just theorizing here, so who knows? Anything can happen. But going from North Carolina, let's head out west and let's talk about Salt Lake City, Utah. Utah's been in the news a lot lately because they're one of the locations that might be hosting the A's when they leave Oakland, and it does seem like Salt Lake City does want a Major League Baseball team more than a lot of other cities. So it would make a bit of sense for the A's to go there in the short term to see what the market looks like, and if they are successful, then maybe Major League Baseball would reward them with the 32nd franchise in Major League Baseball. Now, Salt Lake City does not have a huge population, but at the same time, they're able to support the Utah Jazz and the Salt Lake City Bees, which is the AAA team in Utah. So I think they would be able to support a baseball team with no real issue. But with all this said so far, I'm going to give you my realistic answer what I think MLB expansion could look like, let's say by 2030 or by 2034, which is 10 years from now. I think Nashville, Tennessee will get a team. That will be the 31st team in Major League Baseball. And I think the 32nd team would be a team in Texas. Again, for all the reasons that I've stated already, it just kind of makes sense. Texas is so centralized. You can put them in the West, put them in the East, put them in the South, put them in the Central, whatever you need to do to make the divisions work. Texas just kind of works no matter what you want to do. Now, while we're here, let's have a little bit of fun. Now, let's say 15, 20 years from now. So what would that put us at? 2039 or 2044? And let's say Major League Baseball expands to 34 teams, which would just be absurd to think about, but hey, play along here for a minute. So where would I put the other 2 teams to be the 33rd and 34th team in Major League Baseball? I think the 33rd team will go to one of the fastest growing cities of the West, and that is Boise, Idaho. 15, 20 years from now, I totally could see Boise, Idaho having a Major League Baseball team. Putting a baseball team there just kind of looks right when you look at the map, because Idaho doesn't really dip too far into Colorado's territory, nor into Vegas's territory, California's. It would dip into the Mariners' territory a little bit, but at the same time, it's far enough away where it really isn't that big of a deal. So it's just kind of the perfect centralized Northwest area that would tap into big markets like Wyoming and Montana, even Oregon, Northern Nevada, Northern Utah, and it would just be a good hub for that area of the country. And for the 34th team in Major League Baseball, you can make an argument again to put it kind of anywhere you want. You can make another argument for Texas, maybe even California at that point. Maybe you go for a flyover state such as Kansas, Nebraska, one of the Dakotas, even Oklahoma. You could go to the Deep South and finally put another team down there. You could even make the argument for a pure West expansion. So have a team in Boise, Idaho, Nashville, and then you can give the 34th team to Portland, Oregon. Now, of course, I believe the Mariners would be fighting tooth and nail to get both of those teams out of there, where I think they could accept one of them coming into their territory, but of course not two. But then again, we are living in a super fictional world here with the 33rd and 34th expansion team, so it is what it is, right? After thinking about it a little bit harder, I think the 34th team would be going to California yet again. I think Sacramento would be fit for a team by that point. They have one of the highest attendance on average pretty much every year the last 20 plus years with their AAA team there, and by that point the A's will have been well established in Vegas, let's hope, and that would be a pretty interesting market for baseball to finally tap into, to a true Northern California market. I know you can argue that the Giants and A's kind of do, but not really. That's a Bay Area market. And also, if you have a team in Sacramento, fans in actual Northern California would probably pull for them. I know Sacramento is not a super fun one to think about. It's not like putting a team on the moon or something. It is at least a semi-realistic possibility in the future. So that's what I'm going to go with. I do think Sacramento is a growing area. They support AAA baseball quite well, and I wouldn't be shocked if a fifth team showed back up in California. And of course, who knows what the future beholds? Maybe they try to put a team in Puerto Rico, Alaska, Hawaii, another Canadian team, even though I don't think that will ever happen again. I think Canada burnt a lot of bridges 4 years ago with Major League Baseball, and I don't think those relations are all that cordial anymore. Again, with the 4 locations that I picked for the semi-short term and then the long term, I have no idea what's going to happen. This is just kind of my guesses at this moment. I really don't know what's going to happen. These are just kind of my semi-realistic possibilities. Maybe Nashville falls all the way through in the next 5 years and it's never going to happen. Who knows? But either way, if these teams come to fruition or not, I think it's a fun exercise to think about. So with that said, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. And while you're down there, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be greatly appreciated. Until next time, guys, everyone have a great day. Thanks for watching.